Away from that, we continue our continuous coverage of the revelations from former Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boateng's Galamsey report, which cites many government officials and NPP functionaries as active participants in illegal mining. It has emerged one of the companies cited in the report for having engaged in illegal mining, that C&J Alaska Mining, had been cautioned multiple times between 2016 and 2018 to desist from the illegal activity by the Minerals Commission. You recall Professor Frimpong Boateng mentioned lawyer for the company, NPP stalwart Gabi Asare-Chedako, interfered with his anti-Galamsey task force's work relating to the said company. Well, former Minerals Commission CEO Dr. Tony Obin says under his watch, they issued many warnings to C&J Alaska to desist from the illegality. He spoke to Alfred Okanse on Ghana Tonight.
When we got the report, we got wind that mining activities was taking place in the concession that had been granted to C&J Alaska. We sent people to investigate. We sent our staff to go and investigate. And when they came back, they confirmed that some illegality was going on. The company was not following the requirement of the license given, or the lease, the prospecting license given. So obviously, we, by the power vested in us as a commission, we could either completely cancel the concession or suspend it, or, as I said, revoke the concession. In this case, we actually suspended them indefinitely until the commission was satisfied that they were going according to the rules of the game. So the purpose of that letter, as you could see, was just to sanction them that they were not following the requirement of the prospecting license granted them. Yes, I mean, we did not anticipate that this thing is going to happen, like this is going to become a controversial issue, but that is a regular thing that every regulator must do. If a recipient of a regulatory license goes against the rules of the license, the appropriate action has to be taken. I believe that later on they went back, after stopping for some time, they went back, and that was after the change of government. Sometimes people, when there's a change of government, they take advantage of it and try to go back to their bad ways. In 2017, we had another cause to write to them again to stop what they.
So still on illegal mining, the Professor Frimpong Boateng report has given rise to further documents which reveal the Environmental Protection Agency and the Forestry Commission may have issued entry permits beyond the 2% threshold allowed by law in forest reserves. Fresh information available to 3 News indicates as many as 47 permits were issued to mining companies to prospect in forest reserves across the country under the watch of the late Forestry Commission CEO, Kwejo Owusu-Efriye alias Sir John. Dr. Henry Kokofui, CEO of the Environmental Protection Agency, he says the agency does not have control over the number of entry permits issued to mining companies.
So we as Environmental Protection Agency, we are enjoined by law to issue what we call environmental permits to those who have concessions for mining or prospecting of mining of minerals. And we do so when the applicant so applies. So as to how many permits are going out or are being issued, know that we do not have control over them. However, we have general jurisdiction over the protection and safeguarding of the entire environment, including both the biophysical and the physical. We do scrutinize applicants or applications asking for prospecting, environmental permit for prospecting or going into actual mining before the Minerals Commission.
You heard the EPA CEO, Dr. Henry Kokofu, speaking to Alfredo Kansé on Ghana Tonight. Away from that, the National Communications Authority has denied claims of a breach of a country's SIM database. In spite of multiple reports, SIM registrants with Ghana cards are also being done on the blind side of the subscribers. At a news conference, CEO of the authority said they have a robust system to deal with all the issues arising.
My other number was having connection issues. So I went to one of their offices to check what was the cause. I found out that about 5 numbers have been registered with my Ghana card without my knowledge.
These are examples of widespread reports of strange mobile numbers linked to subscribers' Ghana cards amid concerns of identity theft and stolen details of affected persons. Over the past few days, some telco subscribers were shocked when they discovered their Ghana cards had been used to register strange or unknown numbers.
The industry, the regulator, together with the MNOs, are looking into these things and finding ways in which, these fraudulent practices are dealt with.
These instances, coupled with other reported fraud cases, despite the SIM registration, suggested that the SIM register being built in Ghana had been compromised. However, the NCA says those claims are unfounded.
We wish to assure the general public that the SIM database has not been breached. There has been no unauthorized access to the SIM registration database. The identified abuses of stage 1 process do not amount to unauthorized access to the SIM registration database.
From May 1, subscribers could use a short code *402*1# to check the numbers of SIMs registered with their Ghana cards and to proceed to the link sum.
In the coming days, MNOs will introduce a system to enable subscribers to check the number and details of the SIM registered in their respective names. *402*1#. And if for some reason there's a SIM that is associated with your Ghana card that doesn't belong to you, there's a process that you can follow to get that SIM or SIMs be delinked.
The NCA says service to 11 million mobile phone subscribers will be deactivated by May 31 as the active mass SIM registration comes to a close.
The subscriber of these unregistered active SIMs have up to 31st May 2023 to complete their SIM registration or have the SIMs deactivated, delinked from the network. Subscribers who do not genuinely have Ghana cards will have to prove that they do not have Ghana cards to prevent SIMs being deactivated.
Well, there's been a lot of reactions to the press conference organized by the NCA. Ningo Prampram, Member of Parliament Sam George, has disputed the NCA boss's assertions that the SIM card database is secure. The legislator contends that the problem at hand is not the condition of the NCA database, but rather the use of individual Ghana cards to register many SIM cards without the owner's knowledge or consent.
The NCA is playing the ostrich, to put it lightly, because the NCA cannot tell us that they don't know what constitutes a breach of citizens or personal data. You have a situation where the data, Ghana card data of citizens has been inappropriately used by assigns of MNOs without the prior approval or permission of the owners of that data. That in itself is a breach. And the system on which this breach happened is systems that were put in place by the NCA for the MNOs. The NCA must be talking to us about what remedial action is going to be taking there. We're not talking about a breach of the subscriber database or anything. We're talking about personal data that has been used fraudulently without the permission or approval of the owners of those data. The NCA is silent on that. The NCA hasn't said anything about that. And that for me is problematic. One breach is breach enough for you to take serious look at it. And has anybody done any work to see the extent of this breach? How many people have, what systems, what have they done? What audit has been carried out of the system so far for us to know the number of people who have been affected by this? How many SIM cards how many Ghana cards have been used fraudulently? How many SIM cards have been registered? The NTA doesn't put any of that data available to us.
Let's do some more stories this morning. The board chair of Amnesty International, Francis Nyantechi, is advocating the prosecution of people and churches that chain mentally ill patients. Speaking during the publication of a 2023 Human Rights Report and the 50th anniversary of Amnesty International, Francis Nyantechi argued that such a behavior violates the human rights of the individuals and must be denounced.
The report captures the inability of Parliament to pass the Affirmative Action Bill, arbitrary arrest and torture of innocent citizens by the security forces, and the increasing abuse of persons accused of being witchcraft, as well as the dehumanizing torture of mental health patients.
Expect the state apparatus, especially the security agencies, the social welfare department, the mental health authority, to take immediate action by arresting those people involved, prosecuting them, so that we can have safe environment for people who are perceived or have real.
Now, caterers in charge of a school feeding program have declared a nationwide strike. By this, the caterers will not be preparing food for the pupils in public basic schools across the country. Leaders of a caterer association say they are not returning to cook for the pupils until government responds to their concerns, one of which is to increase the stipends or grants for the preparation of food.
The caterers have been off-duty pressing home settlement of arrears and an upward adjustment of the feeding grants from 97 pesos to 3 cedis per pupil.
School feeding caterers are public servants like teachers, police, doctors, nurses and other employees that provide state services to the public, but are being discriminated against.
A member of the association, Dorothy Sapong, says their predicament is having a toll on their livelihood.
Central region people here, we have Greater Accra, we have Volta region, we have some of them from northern regions, and then the eastern region, they are all here. All the representatives came, so we are collectively the whole Ghana. We cannot go and borrow to come and cook for the children for free. We are fed up. We want our money.
And we know the latest action by the caterers is following 3 weeks of suspension of catering for pupils in parts of the country, particularly the Ashanti region. Let's do some politics now. An aspiring presidential candidate of the Gaffrey New Patriotic Party, Kennedy Ohinejepong, has slammed persons claiming he is not worthy to be a presidential candidate of the party for the 2024 polls. He's been speaking to party delegates on a tour of the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua.
Why working in radio and television station and differently MPP more than me? 2008, na member Denmark, Obia Shadem, Oman Yadiya program, outdoor program, encouraging MPP for. And now you're sending in presidential material. Now, around here, presidential material is an Indian. Chaboy, presidential material will be a Osha suit. No one more time. Now, Opaya Batanai. So did he, so anything. Oshiava was good to see you, good to see you. Now, Obia Oba was a crutch. Unyaduma, Unyamuyamu, Untiadumani, sorry, the Koyabi, Tisamia, one, Tababoy, good to see you. Any sorry for you. One presidential material. Now, we are good to see you, good to see you. It is good to see you, go job. It is good to see you, go job. You want job, we 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 want job.
You had the 2024 flag bearer hopeful of the NPP, Kennedy Ohinejepong, basically courting the support of party faithful in the Eastern region, saying they should vote for a candidate who will prioritize job creation for the teeming youth in the country rather than basing on big grammar and the lofty ideas that have been postulated in the past. Let's still stay with political related stories. The Electoral Commission has slated May 2 to May 5 for filing of nominations for the Kumewu parliamentary by-elections, urging aspirants to ensure they have all their requisite documents to back their eligibility. William Evans Inkum has come through with the following report.
Article 94 of Ghana's constitution spells out qualification and eligibility for the parliamentary election. On May 23, all eyes will be on Kumewu as a total of 34,481 voters from 75 polling stations are expected to vote and replace the late former MP, Philip Basua, who died on March 27 this year. Already, 4 political parties, namely the ruling NPP, NDC, CPP, and an independent candidate, have all announced their readiness to battle for the seat. Ashanti Regional Director of the EC, Benjamin Banobio, cautioned candidates to ensure they have requisite proof to support their eligibility.
The law is clear on that. A candidate, anyone who wants to contest, should be a registered voter. It is not limited to the constituency, but should be a registered voter in the country. Then, you should either hail from that place or have stayed there for not less than 2 years preceding the last general election. And so, you may hail from that place, you may have stayed there for that period of time, then you qualify to contest there. But you must also be a registered voter. And we'll go through all these things to find out.
Some 300 people have been recruited by the EC for the polls. Filing of nominations begins from May 2 to May 5.
And just before we get onto the international front, the Office of a Special Prosecutor has adjourned to 17th of May 2023 for judge to set a date for ruling on the injunction application by a former secretary of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bisu, who is seeking to stop the Office of a Special Prosecutor from prosecuting him on grounds that he has already been cleared of any wrongdoing by the police CID in the matter relating to his involvement in illegal mining. On the international front, fighting is continuing in parts of Sudan despite a 72-hour ceasefire largely holding. Speaking by phone from the adjoining city to capital Khartoum, the BBC's Mohammed Usman said there was fighting near TV and radio buildings. He also said there was no fuel at all, a lack of doctors and people struggling to access food and money. The ceasefire, which began at midnight local time at 2022 GMT on Monday, is due to expire at the start of Friday. The conflict began on 15th April amid a power struggle between the leaders of Sudan's regular army and rival group, the Rapid Support Forces. That'll be all for the package this morning. If you log on to 3news.com, you find a lot more stories there, plus updates on those we brought you here. This morning, I am Komla Adom, handing over now to Roland Walker and Bella Mundi. Good morning, guys.